Admiral Lee Ji-won walked through the long hallway of Nexus Prime Station. Her black boots made soft sounds on the metal floor. The walls around her showed pictures of all the different alien species that lived in the galaxy. There were furry ones, scaly ones, and some that looked like walking trees. She had worked with many of them for 20 years. Today felt different. The emergency meeting call had come at midnight, Earth time. No one told her what it was about. The other human. Workers on the station looked worried when she passed them in the halls. Dr. Park Min-ho was waiting for her outside the big meeting room. He was a short man with gray hair who knew more about alien cultures than anyone else from Earth. His face looked tired. "Ji-won, something bad is happening," he said quietly. "I heard the Zilithians talking. They're angry about something we did." "What could we have done?" Lee Ji-won asked. "We follow all the rules. We help everyone who asks." Park Min-ho shook his head. "I don't know, but they called every species to this meeting. All 847 of them." The doors to the meeting room opened with a soft hiss. Inside was the biggest room Lee Ji-won had ever seen. It was like a giant bowl with seats going up and up until they reached the ceiling. Each section had different air and gravity for different types of aliens. Some breathed water, some breathed gas that would kill humans, and some didn't need to breathe at all. Lee Ji-won took her seat in the human section. It was small compared to most others. Only one seat for one species among hundreds. She looked around and saw that many aliens were staring at her. Their faces showed anger, fear, and disgust. Commander Kim Na-young appeared as a blue light in front of Lee Ji-won's seat. She was speaking from Earth's moon base through a hologram. Her military uniform was perfect as always. "Admiral, what's going on up there?" Kim Na-young asked. "Our sensors show every major fleet in the galaxy moving toward this station." "I don't know yet," Lee Ji-won said, "but it doesn't look good." A loud sound filled the room. Everyone became quiet. The Speaker of the Council floated to the center of the room. It was a Zilithian, a race that looked like floating jellyfish made of light. When it spoke, its voice came from every wall at once. "We are here today to solve a problem," the speaker said. "A problem that threatens the peace and order of our galaxy. That problem is the human species." Lee Ji-won felt her heart start beating faster. Park Min-ho grabbed her arm. "For 50 years we have watched the humans spread through our galaxy," the speaker continued. "They came with promises of friendship and trade. We welcomed them. We shared our knowledge with them. We let them live among us." The speaker's light grew brighter and angrier. "But the humans did not just live among us. They changed us. They changed our children. They changed our ways of life. They are like a disease that spreads from world to world." A new alien stood up. It was tall and thin with gray skin and 4 arms. Lee Ji-won knew it was from the Kromnari Empire. "The humans came to our farming worlds," the Kromnari said. "They taught our lower castes new ways to grow food. Now these workers think they are equal to their masters. Our whole society is falling apart because of human ideas." Another alien stood up. This one was covered in fur and had 6 legs. "The humans brought their music to our world," it said with a growling voice. "Our young people listen to it all day. They have forgotten the sacred silence that our people have kept for 1,000 years. They dance and sing like wild animals." More and more aliens stood up to speak. Each one had a story about how humans had changed their world. The humans taught them new science that made their old ways look stupid. The humans showed them art that made their own art seem boring. The humans gave them ideas about freedom that made them question their leaders. Dr. Park Min-ho stood up to speak. "We never meant to cause any harm," he said. "We only shared what we knew because you asked us to. When your people were sick, we helped heal them. When your crops were dying, we showed you how to save them. When your machines broke down, we fixed them." "That is exactly the problem," the speaker said. "You make yourselves necessary. You make us depend on you. Then you change us to be more like you." Lee Ji-won stood up slowly. The room became very quiet. "We are not trying to change anyone," she said. "We are just being ourselves. If our ways seem good to your people, maybe that says something about your ways, not ours." The room exploded with angry sounds. Aliens were shouting in hundreds of different languages. Some made clicking sounds, some roared, and some made noises that humans couldn't even hear. The speaker made the room quiet again. "The humans prove our point," it said. "They cannot help but spread their poison ideas. They think their way is better than ours. This is why we must act." "What are you going to do?" Lee Ji-won asked, but she already knew the answer would be bad. "We are going to vote," the speaker said. "Every species will decide if the humans should be allowed to stay in our galaxy or if they should be sent back to their home system and locked away forever." Commander Kim Na-young's hologram flickered with worry. "Admiral, our ships are reporting that unknown vessels are surrounding the Earth system. Hundreds of them." The vote began. One by one, each species said their choice. The humans could only watch and listen. The Zelithians vote to isolate the humans. The Kromnari Empire votes to isolate the humans. The Furtak Republic votes to isolate the humans. It went on and on. Lee Ji-won kept count in her head. After 2 hours, only 12 species had voted to let humans stay free. More than 800 voted to lock them away. When it was over, the speaker announced the result. "The vote is 846 to isolate, 1 abstention. The crystal beings could not make their decision in time. The humans will be returned to their home system. A barrier will be built around it that cannot be broken. No human will be allowed to leave. No one will be allowed to visit them." Lee Ji-won stood up one last time. "You think you're protecting yourselves from us?" she said. "But you're making a huge mistake. You'll see how much you need us when we're gone, and when you come begging for our help, remember that you chose this." The speaker's light pulsed with satisfaction. "We will never need the humans again. The galaxy will be pure and peaceful without them." As Lee Ji-won was led away, she saw the fear in some alien faces. Not all of them believed this was the right choice. But it was too late now. The barriers were already being built around Earth. Engineer Choi Hyun-woo felt the mining station shake around him. The big machines that dug metals from the asteroid were making strange noises again. This was the 3rd time this week. Before the barrier went up around Earth, this never happened. He looked at his alien co-workers. They stood around the broken machine with confused faces. Choi Hyun-woo had worked with them for 5 years. They were good workers, but they always asked him how to fix things when they broke. "What's wrong with it this time?" asked Velnok, a hegemony worker with blue skin and 3 eyes. His voice sounded worried. Choi Hyun-woo looked at the machine's control panel. Red lights were flashing everywhere. He knew what was wrong, but he wondered if his alien friends could learn to fix it themselves. "The pressure valve is stuck again," he said, "and the cooling system isn't working right." "Can you fix it?" asked another worker. This one was tall and thin with gray skin. She had 4 arms that moved like snakes. "I can try," Choi Hyun-woo said. "But I've been fixing this same problem every few days. You need to learn how to do it too." The aliens looked at each other with worry. They had never needed to learn these things before. When something broke, they just asked the human workers to fix it. "We don't understand machines like you do," Velnok said. "Humans have a gift for making things work." Choi Hyun-woo started working on the machine. As he worked, he thought about what Velnok had said. Humans didn't have a special gift. They just learned how things worked and remembered what to do when they broke. But maybe other species never had to learn these things. On the other side of the galaxy, Dr. Seojina was having her own problems. She worked on a research ship with scientists from many different worlds. They were studying a new disease that was spreading through the outer rim. The disease was not dangerous, but it made people very tired and weak. Dr. Seojina had seen something like it before. She knew how to cure it. But when she tried to teach the alien doctors, they couldn't understand. "You must take samples from the sick people," she explained to Dr. Kavret, a Centauri scientist with 6 tentacles instead of arms. "Then you look at the samples under the microscope. The bacteria will be shaped like tiny stars." Dr. Kavret moved his tentacles in a way that meant he was confused. "But how do you know to look for star shapes?" he asked. "How do you know which bacteria causes which sickness?" Dr. Seojina realized she had learned this from her teachers on Earth. Her teachers had learned it from working with humans and aliens, together for many years. But the alien doctors had always just asked humans what to do. They never learned the basic ideas behind the medicine. "I learned it by studying many diseases," she said. "You have to look at lots of samples and remember what you see." "But that would take many years," Dr. Kavret said. "It's easier to just ask a human doctor." "But there are no other human doctors here now," Dr. Seojina said quietly. Captain Yoon Tae-hyung was dealing with bigger problems on his trading ship. He had been outside the Earth barrier when it went up. Now he was stuck with a ship full of goods and nowhere to sell them. But that wasn't his biggest worry. His ship had become a meeting place for aliens who were starting to question the isolation decision. They came at night when no one could see them. Tonight, 3 different alien traders were sitting in his ship's main room. They all looked nervous. "The shipping routes are falling apart," said one of them. She was a vegan merchant with purple skin and silver eyes. "The trade routes that connected our worlds were planned by human computers. Now we can't figure out the best ways to move goods." "It's worse than that," said another trader. This one was round and fat with orange fur. "The loading computers at the spaceports keep making mistakes. Human technicians used to program them. Now no one knows how to fix the programming." The third alien was small and covered in scales. He spoke in a whisper. "My government says everything is fine," he said. "They say we don't need the humans. But I've seen the reports. Food shipments are arriving late. Medicine is going to the wrong planets. Some colonies aren't getting supplies at all." Captain Yoon Tae-hyung listened to all of this with interest. He had suspected something like this would happen. Humans hadn't just lived in the galaxy. They had become part of how everything worked. "How long before people start to notice?" he asked. "They're already noticing," the purple-skinned trader said. "But the governments are blaming other things. They say it's just bad weather or computer glitches." On Nexus Prime Station, the Galactic Council was indeed getting reports about problems, but most council members didn't want to believe the problems were serious. "Minor adjustment difficulties," the Zalithian speaker said when asked about the shipping delays. Every change causes some temporary problems, but behind closed doors, some council members were worried. A few species had voted against the isolation, and now they were watching everything fall apart. Councillor Thexnar from the Melonian Republic was one of the worried ones. His people were peaceful farmers who had learned new growing techniques from human teachers. Now their crops were growing poorly, and they didn't know how to fix the problems. "We should have listened more carefully during the human lessons," he told his aide. "We were too busy enjoying the results to learn how they got them." The aide, a young Melonian with bright green skin, nodded sadly. "The young people are asking questions too," she said. "They want to know why the humans had to be locked away. Some of them think the council made a mistake. This was happening on many worlds. The first generation of aliens who had grown up with humans missed them. They had learned human languages, listened to human music, and read human books. Now all of that was forbidden." On the industrial world of Keftar, young aliens gathered in secret to listen to human music recordings. On the scientific world of Nexus Beta, alien students tried to read human research papers that their teachers had hidden away. The governments tried to stop this, but it was hard. Human culture had spread too far and too deep. Back on the mining station, Choi Hyun-woo finished fixing the machine again. It would work for a few more days, then break down again. Each time it broke, it took him longer to fix because the parts were wearing out. "Hyun-woo," Velnok said quietly. "What happens when you're not here anymore?" "What do you mean?" Choi Hyun-woo asked, even though he knew what his friend meant. "The government says all humans will be collected soon," Velnok said. "They'll take you to a special place to keep you safe. But who will fix the machines when you're gone?" Choi Hyun-woo looked around at all his alien co-workers. They were good people who worked hard, but they had never learned to solve problems on their own. "You'll have to learn," he said. "I can try to teach you before they take me away." But deep down, Choi Hyun-woo knew that a few lessons wouldn't be enough. These machines needed someone who understood not just how to fix them, but why they broke and how to prevent problems. That kind of knowledge took years to learn. As the days passed, more and more humans were collected from around the galaxy. They were told it was for their own protection. The aliens celebrated, thinking their galaxy was becoming pure again. But the machines kept breaking down. The shipping routes kept getting confused. The medical treatments stopped working as well. And slowly, very slowly, some aliens began to realize what they had lost. The galaxy was quieter now, but it wasn't the peaceful quiet they had expected. It was the quiet of things slowly falling apart. President Ryu Sungmin stood in the command center deep under Seoul. Through the thick windows, he could see the strange energy barrier that surrounded Earth's solar system. It looked like a wall made of purple light that stretched from one end of space to the other. 2 years had passed since the galaxy locked them away. At first, many humans had been angry and scared. But President Ryu had kept them calm with a simple message. Use this time to get stronger. "Dr. An, what's the status?" "Of Project Freedom?" he asked the woman standing next to him. Dr. An Soo-young was Earth's best scientist. She had been studying the alien barrier since the day it appeared. Her hair was messy and her clothes wrinkled from working too many hours. "We're making progress," she said. "The barrier uses quantum field technology. It's very advanced, but we're learning how it works. The aliens made one mistake when they built it." "What mistake?" President Ryu asked. "They built it to keep us in, not to keep information out," Dr. An said with a tired smile. we can still receive signals from across the galaxy, and what we're hearing is very interesting. She turned on a large screen that showed news reports from alien worlds. Most of the reports tried to sound positive, but President Ryu could hear the worry in the reporters' voices. Shipping delays continue across the Outer Rim territories, said a Kromnari news reporter. Government officials say the problems are temporary and will be solved soon. Another report showed factories on different worlds. Production levels have dropped by 30% this quarter, said a Centauri business reporter. Experts blame equipment failures and computer errors. President Ryu had seen dozens of reports like these. The galaxy was having serious problems, but most governments were trying to hide it. It's getting worse, Dr. Ahn said. 3 major trade companies have already collapsed. Food shortages are reported on 17 worlds, and we've detected signs of civil unrest on at least 40 planets. On the other side of the galaxy, Ambassador Jung Woo-jin was hiding in the lower levels of a space station. He had been outside the Earth barrier when it went up, and now he was organizing a secret network of humans and alien sympathizers. His current hiding place was in the old maintenance tunnels under Kepler Station. With him were 5 other humans and 12 aliens who disagreed with the isolation decision. The situation is worse than most people know, Jung Woo-jin told the group. I've been collecting data from my contacts across the galaxy. Want to hear the real numbers? Everyone nodded. Jung Woo-jin opened a small computer and began reading. Industrial production is down 47% galaxy-wide. Medical treatment success rates have dropped by 60%. Transportation delays have increased by 300%, and those are just the problems they're admitting to. One of the aliens in the group was a young Melonian named Soft Whisper of Rain. Her green skin looked pale with worry. My homeworld is starving, she said quietly. The crops are failing because we forgot how the human teachers showed us to care for the soil. My government won't admit it, but thousands of people are getting sick from bad food. An older alien with blue skin and 4 arms spoke up. He was a hegemony engineer named Kravdok. The fusion reactors on my world are starting to fail, he said. Human engineers designed the safety systems, but we never learned how they worked. Now we're afraid to shut them down for repairs because we might not be able to start them again. Jung Woo-jin listened to story after story like this. Each alien in his group had similar problems on their home worlds, but their governments wouldn't. Let them ask for human help. What about the Galactic Council? Asked one of the humans, a medical technician named Dr. Lee Kyungmin. Are they doing anything? The council is split, Jung Woo-jin said. About half the species want to keep the isolation going. They're too proud to admit they made a mistake, but the other half are starting to panic. Back on Earth, Dr. An Soo-young was making an important discovery in her laboratory. She had been working day and night to understand the barrier technology. Today, she finally had a breakthrough. President Ryu, you need to see this, she said over the communication system. President Ryu arrived in her lab within minutes. Dr. An led him to a large machine that was shooting purple light at a metal wall. I've figured out how the barrier works, she said excitedly. It creates a field that pushes against anything trying to leave our solar system, but the field has to be powered from the outside. What does that mean? President Ryu asked. It means they need huge power stations around our system to keep the barrier running, Dr. An explained. And those power stations need constant maintenance. Guess who used to do most of the maintenance work on alien technology? President Ryu smiled for the first time in months. Humans. Exactly. Their barrier is slowly getting weaker because they can't maintain it properly without human technicians. While Dr. An was making her discovery, the galaxy was facing its worst crisis yet. On the industrial world of Vorth Prime, 3 nuclear reactors had gone into emergency shutdown. The alien engineers were afraid to restart them. On the agricultural world of Green Haven, crops were dying across entire continents. The automated farming systems were making wrong decisions because no one knew how to program them correctly. On the medical research station of Healing Light, alien doctors watched helplessly as patients died from diseases that used to be easily curable. The medical computers had the cure information, but the doctors couldn't understand the complex procedures. The worst crisis was happening in the shipping lanes between star systems. Without human-designed navigation systems, cargo ships were getting lost in space. Some had been missing for weeks. On Nexus Prime, the Galactic Council held emergency meetings every day, but they couldn't agree on what to do. "The problems are temporary," insisted the Zilithian speaker. "We just need time to adjust to life without human interference." But Councillor Thexnar from the Melonian Republic stood up with anger in his voice. "My people are dying," he shouted. "Children are starving because our crops are failing. We need human help, and we need it now." "The humans poisoned our minds," said a Krumnari council member. "If we bring them back, they'll just make things worse." "Things are already worse," Thexnar replied. "How much worse can they get?" Other council members began arguing loudly. Some wanted to end the isolation immediately. Others wanted to keep it going no matter what happened. A few suggested asking Earth for help while keeping the barrier in place, but no one knew if Earth would even want to help them after what they had done. Unknown to the Council, Earth was already preparing to help. President Ryu had decided that Earth wouldn't wait for permission to save lives. "Dr. An, how long until you can break through the barrier?" he asked. "I can create small holes in it starting next week," she said. "Big enough to send ships through, but not big enough for anyone to notice right away." "Good. Prepare humanitarian missions to the worlds that need help most. We'll save as many lives as we can." "What if the aliens try to stop us?" Dr. An asked. "President," Ryu looked out at the purple barrier that had trapped his people for 2 years. "Let them try," he said. "They wanted to see what the galaxy looks like without humans. Now they're going to see what humans look like when they're finally free to act without asking permission." As Earth prepared its secret missions, the galaxy continued to fall apart. But in hidden places, aliens and humans worked together to keep hope alive. They knew that sooner or later the barrier would fall, and when it did, everything would change. Fleet Admiral O. Jimin watched from the bridge of the Earthship New Dawn as they slipped through a tiny hole in the alien barrier. The hole was so small that their ship barely fit through it. Behind them, the purple wall of energy closed again, like it had never been opened. "Admiral, we're through the barrier," reported the navigation officer. "We're now in free space." "Excellent," Admiral O said. "Set course for the Melonian system. They need medical supplies the most." 4 years had passed since the isolation began. During that time, Earth had not been sitting still. They had built new ships, developed new weapons, and most importantly, they had been watching the galaxy fall apart. This was Earth's 15th secret mission through the barrier. Each time, they helped a few worlds and then returned home before anyone noticed. But today's mission was different. Today, they weren't hiding. "Admiral," said the communications officer, "we're receiving a message from a Melonian ship. They're asking who we are." Tell them we're from Earth, Admiral O said, calmly. Tell them we're here to help. On the planet Malonia, Counselor Thexnar received the message with tears in his eyes. His world had been starving for months. Half their crops had died, and the other half were growing wrong. Thousands of his people were sick from eating bad. Food. Humans, he whispered to his aide. The humans are here. His aide, a young Melonian named Bright Hope Rising, looked scared. But, sir, it's illegal to contact humans. The Galactic Council will punish us. Let them, Thexnar said firmly. My people are dying. I don't care about council laws anymore. He opened a communication channel to the Earth ship. Human vessel, this is Counselor Thexnar of Malonia. We need your help. Admiral O's face appeared on the screen. She was a middle-aged woman with kind eyes and a strong voice. Counselor, we know about your food crisis, she said. We have medical supplies and farming experts on our ship. May we help your people? Thexnar nodded quickly. Yes, please. But I must warn you, if the Council finds out, they might send military ships. Let them come, Admiral O said with a slight smile. We're not the same humans who were locked away 4 years ago. While the Earth ship helped Malonia, emergency meetings were happening all across the galaxy. The news that humans had broken through the barrier was spreading fast. On Nexus Prime, the Galactic Council was in chaos. Some members were screaming for the humans to be captured. Others were quietly hoping the humans would come to their worlds. 2. This is an invasion, shouted the Kromnari representative. The humans have broken their prison and are spreading their poison again. What poison? Demanded Counselor Thexnar, who was attending the meeting by hologram from Malonia. They brought medicine for our sick children and seeds for our dying crops. Is helping people poison now? The Zilithian speaker tried to calm everyone down, but its light was flickering with nervousness. The humans were isolated for the good of the galaxy, it said. If we let them free now, they'll change us again. Good, shouted a representative from the hegemony worlds. Maybe we need to be changed. My people are living in the dark because our power stations are failing. If the humans can fix them, let them come. The argument went on for hours. In the end, the council was split 3 ways. 200 species voted to keep the isolation and capture any humans found outside Earth. 200 voted to ask Earth for help immediately. The remaining 400 couldn't decide what to do. For the first time in galactic history, the council couldn't agree on anything. Some species started making their own decisions without waiting for official approval. The hegemony worlds, secretly, sent messages to Earth begging for help with their failing power systems. The Centauri Republic offered to trade rare minerals for human technical knowledge. Even some Kromnari colony worlds went against their government and asked for human farming experts. Meanwhile, Earth was getting stronger every day. General Han Myung stood in the main war room under Seoul, looking at displays that showed Earth's new military power. Report, General, said President Ryu Sung-min as he entered the room. We now have 300 ships ready for combat. General, Han said. All of them use technology we developed during the isolation. Our weapons are 50% more powerful than anything the aliens have. Our shields are twice as strong, and our ships are 3 times faster. What about their numbers? President Ryu asked. They have more ships, but most of them are old and poorly maintained, General Han explained. Remember, humans used to do most of the maintenance work on alien military equipment. Their fleets have been getting weaker while ours got stronger. President E. Ryu nodded with satisfaction. What about public opinion in the galaxy? That's where things get interesting, General Han said, switching to a different display. Our intelligence network reports that 60% of the galaxy now supports ending the isolation. Many aliens are openly saying the Council made a mistake. This was true. On worlds across the galaxy, alien citizens were protesting against their governments. They wanted human help, and they didn't understand why their leaders were too proud to ask for it. On the industrial world of Keftar, workers had gone on strike until their government agreed to contact Earth about fixing their factories. On the research station Nexus Beta, scientists had signed a petition demanding that human researchers be allowed to return. Even on some Kromnari worlds, farmers were secretly using old human farming techniques they had written down years ago. But the most dramatic change was happening among young aliens. The generation that had grown up with humans was now old enough to have their own opinions. And their opinion was clear. The isolation was wrong. On the planet Vorth Prime, a young Centauri named Kexhai was leading a protest march through the capital city. Thousands of young aliens from different species walked with him, carrying signs that said, "Bring back our human friends, and we need each other." The older generation is afraid of change, Kexhai told a news reporter. But we're not afraid. We remember what life was like when humans were here. It was better. The protests were happening on dozens of worlds. Governments tried to stop them, but there were too many people involved. Ambassador Yung Woojin watched these protests from his hidden base and smiled. His secret network had grown to include millions of aliens across the galaxy. They shared information, coordinated protests, and helped spread the truth about how much the galaxy needed human help. "The barrier is weakening faster now," reported Dr. Lee Kyung-min, who had been monitoring the alien power stations. "They're having trouble keeping it powered. I estimate it will fail completely within 6 months. We might not need to wait that long," Yung Woojin said. He showed her a message he had just received. 12 species have formally broken away from the Galactic Council. They're forming their own alliance and asking Earth to join them. This was the beginning of the end for the old Galactic Order. When 12 species openly defied the Council, others began to follow. Within days, more than 50 species had left the Council and formed their own governments. The galaxy was splitting apart. Some species still supported the isolation and wanted to keep humans locked away forever. Others wanted human help immediately, and many were somewhere in between, trying to decide what to do. But the deciding factor wasn't politics or pride. It was survival. As more and more worlds faced critical failures of their technology and infrastructure, the choice became simple: accept human help or watch their civilizations collapse. On Earth, Fleet Admiral O. Jimin was preparing for the largest humanitarian mission in human history. "We're going to help everyone who asks," she told her fleet commanders. "I don't care if the Council approves or not. People are dying out there, and we have the power to save them." "What if they try to stop us?" asked one of the commanders. Admiral O looked at the tactical displays showing Earth's new fleet. Sleek ships with advanced weapons and shields, crewed by humans who had spent 4 years preparing for this moment. Then they'll learn what happens when you corner humans and then try to keep them from helping people in need, she said firmly. The barrier was holding, but barely, and everyone in the galaxy knew that when it finally fell, nothing would ever be the same again. Supreme Commander Ko Jamin stood on the bridge of Earth's flagship as the purple barrier around their solar system flickered and died. After 6 years of imprisonment, Humanity was finally free. But they weren't the same humans who had been locked away. "All ships, this is Commander Ko," he said into his communicator. "The barrier is down. Begin liberation operations immediately." Behind him, a fleet of 500 Earth ships moved out of the solar system. They were sleek and powerful, built with technology that combined human innovation with alien knowledge they had studied during their isolation. The first alien ships they met were a small patrol fleet from the Zilithian Empire. The patrol leader, a nervous young officer, sent a shaking message to the Earth ships. "Human vessels, you are ordered to return to your system immediately. The Galactic Council has not authorized your release." Commander Ko responded calmly. "The Galactic Council no longer has authority over Earth. We are a free nation, and we're here to help people who need it. I have orders to stop you," the Zilithian officer said. "Then try," Commander Ko replied. The alien ships fired their weapons at the Earth fleet. The beams of energy hit the human shields and bounced off harmlessly. Then the Earth ships fired back. Their weapons were so advanced that they disabled the alien ships without destroying them. "Zilithian Patrol, this is your only warning," Commander Ko said. "We don't want to hurt anyone, but we won't be stopped from helping people in need." The alien patrol quickly left the area. News of the barrier's collapse spread across the galaxy. Within hours, on some worlds, people celebrated. On others, governments prepared for war. But most places just waited to see what the humans would do. On the planet Melonia, Counselor Thexanar was watching the news with tears of hope in his eyes. His world had been receiving secret help from Earth for months, but now they could ask for aid openly. "Send a message to the Earth fleet," he told his aide. "Tell them they are welcome on Melonia. Tell them we're sorry for what the Council did." Similar messages came from hundreds of worlds. The galaxy was split between those who feared the humans and those who desperately needed their help. Earth's response was swift and organized. Diplomat Hong Yunji, Earth's new chief negotiator, appeared on every major news network in the galaxy at the same time. "People of the galaxy," she said in a calm, strong voice, "6 years ago, you voted to lock us away because you were afraid of change. We understand that fear. Change can be scary." She paused and looked directly into the camera. "But fear led you to make a terrible mistake. You tried to solve your problems by getting rid of the people who were helping you. Now your worlds are dying, your technology is failing, and your people are suffering." Hong Yunji's image was being broadcast to billions of aliens across thousands of worlds. "Earth offers you a choice," she continued. "We can work together to fix the problems and build a better galaxy for everyone. Or you can keep trying to solve everything without us. But this time the choice is yours to make freely. We won't force anyone to accept our help. However," her voice became firmer, "we also won't allow anyone to stop us from helping those who do want our aid. The days of the Galactic Council controlling Earth are over. The old Galactic Council tried to maintain control, but it was too late. More than half the galaxy's species had already broken away and formed new alliances. The Zilithian speaker called emergency meetings, but most representatives didn't bother to attend. On Nexus Prime, the once mighty council chambers were nearly empty. Only the most stubborn species still supported the old system. "We must fight." "The humans," declared the Kromnari representative. "If we let them return, they'll control everything." But even among the Kromnari, many colonies had secretly contacted Earth for help. Their empire was falling apart from within. The real power in the galaxy was shifting to a new organization, the Cooperative Galactic Assembly. Unlike the old council, this group was based on voluntary cooperation, not forced unity. Director Shin Do-hyun, Earth's representative to the new assembly, explained how it would work. Every species can join or leave freely, he said. No one will be forced to follow rules they don't agree with. But if you want help from other species, you have to be willing to help them too. The new system was simple but revolutionary. Instead of voting on what everyone had to do, species would make agreements with each other about what they wanted to do together. Earth used this system to create the Human Integration Centers. These were schools and workshops where aliens could learn human skills and humans could learn alien knowledge. Engineer Choi Hyun-woo, who had been trapped on the mining station during the isolation, became the director of the first integration center. Aliens came from across the galaxy to learn how to maintain their technology. The secret isn't that humans are smarter, he explained to a class of alien students. It's that we learn by trying things and making mistakes. We're not afraid to break something if it helps us understand how it works. Dr. Seo Jina founded the Galactic Medical Corps, where human and alien doctors work together to fight diseases across the galaxy. The medical knowledge they shared saved millions of lives and led to cures for illnesses that had plagued the galaxy for centuries. Captain Yoon Tae-hyung became the first human admiral in the new Galactic Defense Force. His job was to protect trade routes and keep peace between different species. His ships were crewed by volunteers from dozens of different worlds, all working together. But not everyone accepted the new order. The Kromnari Empire and a few other species tried to fight back against human influence. They formed their own alliance and declared war on any world that worked with humans. The war was short and decisive. Earth's advanced technology, combined with their alien allies, quickly defeated the old Empire forces. But instead of destroying their enemies, Earth offered them the same choice as everyone else: join the new system or be left alone. Most chose to join, the final symbol of the old. Order's end came when the original Nexus Prime Station was converted into a memorial. Visitors could see the chamber where 846 species had voted to isolate Earth, and they could learn about the consequences of that decision. A plaque at the entrance read, 2.3 billion beings died during the Great Isolation due to technological failures, medical crises, and infrastructure collapse. This memorial reminds us that isolation and fear lead to suffering, while cooperation and understanding lead to prosperity. Admiral Lee Jae-won, now an old woman, was invited to give the memorial's dedication speech. She stood in the same chamber, where she had been condemned 6 years earlier. "When you voted to lock us away," she said to the crowd of thousands, "I told you that you would regret it. I was right about that. But I also promised that you wouldn't regret giving us a second chance." She looked out at the audience, which included humans and aliens sitting together, working together, learning from each other. "Today, I want to make a new promise," she continued. "As long as humans and aliens work together with respect and understanding, our galaxy will grow stronger, wiser, and more beautiful than any of us could achieve alone." The crowd erupted in cheers that could be heard throughout the station. 10 years later, the galaxy was unrecognizable. Worlds that had been dying during the isolation were now thriving. New technologies developed through human-alien cooperation had solved problems that had existed for centuries. Young beings grew up in a galaxy where humans and aliens learned together in the same schools, worked together in the same jobs, and dreamed together about the same bright future. The barriers that had once divided species were gone. replaced by bridges of friendship and cooperation. And in the museums and history books, the story of the Great Isolation served as a reminder of what could happen when fear overcame wisdom, and what was possible when people chose to work together instead of apart. Earth had kept its promise. The galaxy was better because humans and aliens had learned to trust each other again, and this time, no one wanted to build any more barriers.